Today, it was dismal reports out for big banks. Goldman Sachs reporting a staggering loss in the third quarter, marking only the second time in history the company posted a quarterly decline, believe it or not. Bank of America seeing a $6 billion profit in its third quarter, but only because it sold off a slew of its assets in the process. Time to let the Willis watchdogs out. Clint David is a legal analyst for David Goodman and Bedole in Dallas. Yu-Dee Chang is the chief trader and sole principal of Ace Investment Strategists in D.C. And Lindsay Piegza is an economist. All right, Lindsay, let's start with you. What do you make of these bank earnings?
Well, sure. We actually did see the market rally quite nicely on some favorable announcement in terms of $2 trillion potential restructuring from Germany and France. But this does not negate the underlying weakness that we saw in the banking sector. Now, some institutions did benefit from a pickup in retail activity, specifically mortgage activity, but a lot were hurt by a decline in investment banking opportunities. So, the one silver lining that we can see from a decline or weakness in the banking sector is maybe this is enough to calm down those Wall Street protesters if we see that Wall Street fat cats aren't maybe that fat anymore.
Yu-Dee, I look at this, and it's the only thing that seems to really move the market, I got to tell you, is Europe. These bank stocks are moving on Europe and not on their earnings.
Yeah, absolutely. You're absolutely correct. Basically, it's the headline news. And right now, there are three headline news. One, really, absolutely, it's Europe. That's why we joke around saying every morning it's really grease on, grease off. When you get up in the morning, good news out of Europe, market goes up and vice versa. I think another headline news these days is actually the so-called slowdown of China. And the third, a little bit to do, of course, with our own fundamentals, which is earnings. But these days, markets still do buy the rumor and sell the fact. So the banks, actually, Jerry, if you look, made a bottom somewhere around the beginning of this month already. On average, they're up about 20% already from the lows.
All right. Clint, you look at their results with consumers, right? And it's puny, really disappointing out there. What do you make of that? What are your clients telling you about how they feel? Are they taking out loans? Are they spending money?
I've got to be honest with you, they're very pessimistic right now. They're very reluctant to spend money. They're holding on to their money and afraid to let it go. And I'll tell you, as far as these markets are concerned, they drive me crazy. I mean, this morning, futures are down because of the numbers coming out of Bank of America and Goldman. Then at the end of the day, those very same numbers pull them up. Why? Because although they're historically low, they're not as absolutely miserable as was anticipated. I have to say to my two fellow panelists, I don't know how people do this for a living. Horse racing is a more predictable bet than trying to gauge where these markets are going.
I mean, I tell you, the stock market's a mood ring. All right. I want to talk about Warren Buffett. The billionaire wants to pay more taxes, but he might not get his wish if Herman Cain gets elected. Cain's 999 plan calls for the elimination of the capital gains tax, which would significantly reduce Buffett's income tax to a mere 1% or 1.1. Once you factor in charitable deductions, Buffett would likely pay no income taxes at all. And we're going to start with Lindsay because she is on fire about this story.
Well, I think this is the most disingenuous analysis of what Herman Cain is proposing. He's saying no matter who you are, no matter how much you make, you're going to be taxed at a flat 9% rate. Now, the discrepancy here is on capital gains, which is actually income that has already gone through the federal tax pipeline. So he's saying, look, you made $4.9 million, Mr. Buffett. You're going to pay $440,000, just like any other individual that made $4.9 million. But after it's gone through that taxing pipeline, you can sit on it, you can invest it, you can burn it. It is up to you. This is not the 1899 program. This is the 999 program.
All right, Yu-Dee, does Lindsay have it right?
A little bit of it. I mean, for the, opponent of it, all men are created equal, except when it comes to taxes. I think, in a way, Lindsay is absolutely right. The discrepancy is on capital gains. But that's what's wrong with this country. Either you're proposing no capital gains, or in this case, Obama's proposing a 35%
This is one of the most equitable plans that the country has ever seen. No matter who you are, no matter how much you make, you are taxed at a flat rate. Why should someone be taxed again because they take their income, which has already been taxed, and invest it in a profitable scenario? This is a double tax.
Yu-Dee, go.
I don't necessarily disagree with you. Don't forget, if it was up to me, I would rather see a flat tax the way it was proposed by Herman, no doubt about that. But I think for the country's sakes, right now we are in need of some revenue, so maybe not totally eliminating the so-called capital gains tax, but definitely not tax it at the Obama proposed 35%. Right. So maybe a 9% capital gains tax flat rate as well.
I'm thinking 0, 0, 0. Clint, what do you say? I mean, come on now. What do you,
Jerry, I was going to say that exact Brilliant minds think alike. The name should be changed to 000 because that's the chance it'll ever become law. Okay, number one. Number two, there is something inherently wrong about any plan that Warren Buffett will pay virtually zero income tax. He could quite easily shift virtually all of his revenue to capital gains, don't buy a lot of things, give away some charitable deductions, and essentially he'll pay no income tax and get a free ride. I mean, this is a great plan, but it'll never see the light of day.
Well, I think it's a little ridiculous that we're using the second most wealthy American as a proxy to reset our tax code. So I think we need to shift the focus back to the ordinary citizen.
I do worry about retirees who have counted on this income tax scenario that we have now as a way as something that would be around all of their lives. And so they retire and then everything changes and they could really get hurt. But it's a great topic to debate. We'll debate it again.
Wow.
Appreciate your time tonight, guys. Great job, Clint, Yu-Dee, and Lindsay. Great debate. Loved it.
Good to be with you.
Still to come, my 2 cents more on a new spending record. And Americans are buying